Hello, friends. This is Jeremy. I want to remind you that this weekend, if you have downloaded this podcast at 6 a.m. as soon as it was released on the RSS feed, you still have time to go jump into our Duckstream. Duckstream is an annual charity event that all of the hosts and friends of Duckfeed put on every year to raise money for trans kids. Go check it out. Duckfeed.tv/Duckstream. If you were listening to this after December 17th, 2021, apologies, and I hope we're all still alive. I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast that's only about Mr. Sinister, the 2011-2012 run of Uncanny X-Men. I want him to be my boyfriend.
It's time for the pivot. We're going to cover the every episode of the animated series that has him in it.
Perfect.
Which I started as a joke, but that is it was always a good time when he showed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? Yeah. They should have put like a highlight DVD and then just comics with him in it. Starting, of course, with the Mr. Sinister miniseries from the 90s that shows about how he knew Charles Darwin and is more boring than anything in the world.
Honestly, all things Sinister,
just cool Mr. Sinister
would be pretty fun, except for all of the Sinister stuff.
Yes,
except for this,
100%.
So we're doing Avengers versus X-Men. The X-Men Phoenix Force has taken a break to go fight Sinister, and Sinister has successfully stolen all of their Phoenix Force away from them and put it in the hands of a trio of Madeline Pryor clones. And now it's up to the B team, which is Magneto, Storm, Psylocke, and Danger, to go rescue them. And our cover here is a very cool looking Psylocke holding her Psylocke sword, but surrounded by Danger armor. We mentioned this in the last episode of the podcast, that Danger is going to turn into armor for Psylocke so they can sneak in, and that is super cool.
Yeah. The writer of the series has been Karen Gillan the whole time, and then the artist has been Daniel Acuna. Daniel Acuna, I know, had a reputation for taking some time. Sometime, like all the super great artists, they're a little bit slow. So in this one, they're joined by Mike Del Mundo, who I think is a much weirder artist.
Okay.
I have real mixed feelings on it. Like when we start off, we get our B team here fighting a bunch of Sabretooths, which I like.
Yes.
Some of these faces are real weird.
Yeah.
Like, that's all. We got ourselves a case of real weird Psylocke face in this comic.
Yeah. She looks like she is, laying beside a river being sad. Like
she's kind of got McPoyle face.
Yeah,
a little. Like
sure.
And I like what's happening here. She's using her psychic powers to trick the Sabretooths into thinking that they're eating the X-Men when they're just eating themselves and each other.
Super gross and super cool.
Yeah, super, super great. Real nice. We cut back over. So Daniel Acuna is drawing the stuff inside the Sinister lab, generally, here. So we cut back over to Sinister, letting him know.
Yeah, he's having a glass of wine and just chatting at his opponents, just delivering monologues.
I love this dig. He's like, your friends are being killed, and Cyclops like, I told him to stay away. He's like, well, chalk another success for your famous leadership skills, Scott. Like, it's so horrible.
So good. They're really tired of all of this stuff, and of course Sinister is just going to gloat as only Sinister can. Like he is just so extra and extremely crazy in this. Like I love it so much. He tells him he's not going to kill him because that would be a waste of good material. And then he tells the Madelyns that they can sit down, and so they all like sit down in thrones beside him. I really think the Madeline Pryor design on this is super cool.
It's great. The big bell dress. looks super good. He's like, now what to do about your friends? And Cyclops, wait, they're not dead? No, I'm just playing with you. Cyclops is kind of a dumbass in this whole thing, but I'm here for it.
He seems like he is just completely clueless when it comes to Sinister. Like it seems like Sinister just throws him off of his game completely.
Yeah. I love this little meta bit. Sinister's like, time for Nimrod. And Cyclops is like, oh God, you have Sentinels? He's like, no, not that Nimrod. Elgar's Nimrod. And Igar, yeah. And this is a classical piece of music. And he motions to a quartet of Sinisters to start playing this relaxing music.
I love the idea that he either spent time figuring out how to genetically modify a clone in order to be able to play like classic fucking instruments and classical music, or he made clones and then trained them how to do that, like found a teacher. Yeah. Either one either one is so fucking exciting.
Yeah, it's just panache here. He's gonna win. He's gonna do it with style.
Fucking crazy.
He basically says, they're coming in, I don't think they have good chances of winning. We cut over to them kind of planning. Should we call in for reinforcements? No, those people will die. We can't do that. We have to figure out what's going on. And Unit beams in to Danger. I will say that this artist does make Danger look cooler.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The like little wiry tendrils that come off the back of her head, as opposed to the big thick white girl dreads.
Yeah, way cooler.
That she has instead. This is like this is the coolest Danger's ever looked.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He says, Unit says, listen, we're not on the same side here. I don't want Sinister to have all this power, but go check out those cloning engines. Maybe you can stop him. Yeah. Like, I don't really care that much, but it wouldn't be great if this guy gets the Phoenix Force.
This is where Danger is like, hey, let's go look at these clones, but he may not be able to pick me up because I'm a psychic blank, but I can't sneak in. And she's like, and then Psylocke's like, hey, turn into some armor like you did back in the day and I'll wear you in. And of course Magneto's like, really? And they're like, yep, I'm a ninja. I can do this. No big deal.
Yeah. You cause a distraction, he says. Basically, we cut over in the middle of Sinister just laying out his plan. He's like, of course, the 43rd part of my plan was the finest. You didn't see that coming. Like, I love this, just the dungeon master explaining all of his traps.
Do you think
all his plans here?
Do you think Sinister is like competent Michael Scott? Is that what we're seeing? Like, is that
a little bit? I could see it. But like with some actual suave, like it's over the top, and he's a dork, but it's actually kind of cool.
Okay.
In a way that Michael Scott never gets to.
So maybe competent Dr. Venture would be a better.
Yeah. That's Dr. Venture mixed with Dr. Orpheus mixed with competence.
Sure. Yeah. Mixed with some form of ability.
Yeah. The gene proles are revolting.
Yeah.
So he created an underclass for this, as we saw that before in the very first issue. Like, every part has its plan, even the rebellion is part of the system. It sends Madeline 4 to go take them out.
Mm-hmm. I guess there are 5 Madelines. You only see 3 at any given time, so I just assumed there were 3. But now he's saying Madeline 4. I guess there has to be 5.
There was one for each. Yeah, there's one for each Phoenix Force.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So we go over to Storm and Magneto having a little moment, causing their distraction.
Yep.
Just causing chaos and fighting guys in pith helmets.
I like this art a lot right here. Like, I think this is all looking really, really cool. I love it when the Phoenix Force looks like liquid flame. It just looks really, really nice. And that's what happens here when Storm tries to attack one of the Madeline 4 with lightning, and it just doesn't work, and she sends the Phoenix after her. The Phoenix flame. The
previous panel I want to draw attention. So this guy who draws the weird faces, when he's just drawing figures, they look great.
Mm-hmm.
Like this figure of Magneto just floating and holding his hand up, and all the stuff happening around him.
Yeah.
Is really great. And I love that Storm is just sending classic lightning bolt shaped lightning bolts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Down. It looks really good. Like, this artist is very cool. He just has some weird faces going on. Like, even on that same page, this picture of Storm is pretty weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, the Phoenix, the flames coming out looking like liquid fire is really good. Fighting Storm here. Getting the upper hand seemingly until Magneto slams a gigantic piece of metal into her.
Yep. And then she takes apart his helmet. She being Madeline 4 takes apart his helmet and then his psychic defenses and his mind. And then at that point we switch back over to Psylocke sneaking in, and Madeline 4 comes over, floating Magneto beside her, because she has, raided Magneto's mind and found out what the plan was. So she forces Magneto to start sending like metal shards at Psylocke, which is when Psylocke is like, "Hey, Danger, you go do your thing. I will distract up here." And Danger's like, "How are you going to do that?" And she's like, "Are you not listening? I'm a fucking ninja. Like I keep telling you people."
Yeah. This is the coolest. Like this is good Psylocke material.
Mm-hmm.
She like runs up the bits of metal like a Quicksilver in the Dark Phoenix movie, and stabs him in the neck.
Yeah.
Doesn't psychic stab him, weirdly enough. Stabs him with a little tiny syringe.
You would think just a psychic stab would be the way to go here, but
yeah.
What do I know, Gary?
It's like, did you lose your powers and I missed it?
I'm not a ninja. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. I saw you doing things with those saber teeth. I know you had those powers. So she distracts her while Danger goes back in. Danger turns into a little octopus walking eye.
Fucking great.
I don't know why, but it's still a better design.
Mm-hmm.
Looks in and sees what's happening. Sinister has the original Phoenix 5 and like Phoenix spheres above his Council of Madelines here, and this shakes Unit. This I still earlier in the episode I was like, oh, maybe he's not Sinister. I could also see this part of a ploy.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Because it's got the ego. Like when he sees it, it's like a machine as pure and beautiful as reason. It's perfect as science can be. There's nothing we can do. Run.
I still think
and that would be what a Sinister would.
Yeah, this could be alternate universe or future Sinister or past Sinister or something. Like this could be this could definitely be alternate Sinister in some way. I'm still liking that idea a lot. Sinister realizes Danger is there and is like, "Oh, hey, you were behind schedule. Like I kept expecting you to show up." But she is listening to Unit and like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here." On the way out, she grabs Psylocke and Magneto.
Well, all this stuff supports that theory. She's like, you were late to show up, which like if Sinister was manipulating Unit, and then later is like, run, wherever you run, you're still going to be part of my universe.
Yeah.
That made me very sure of my theory.
Just have to finish the run and find out.
Yeah, exactly. I must know. Sorry, I cut you off for that. I was just realizing like, oh, this is,
No.
Cyclops says like, while he's distracted, Emma, get in there. She says, what can I do? And she goes and talks to one of the Madelines, or seemingly does. Do you want to be trapped? Do you want to be a slave? And she says, we live only to serve. And he's like, oh, quiet. Like, I'm not talking to you. She's talking to the Phoenix inside her. And we go into the Phoenixscape.
Yeah. And Emma Frost is like, hey, you're here for a reason. Surely it's not just to be a prop up a megalomaniac's delusion of grandeur. And the Phoenix is like, yeah, I guess not. And like just agrees, which is like the weakest thing about this issue for me is like the Phoenix Force being like, oh yeah, okay, cool.
I was gonna vibe with it. Yeah. If I do Sinister's bidding for a while, I don't know.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. Like I just like either this thing has a consciousness and is like specifically here for a purpose and its destiny and all this other stuff, or it doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's okay because she recognizes Emma Frost and is like, oh, I'm the Phoenix. I can just leave these 5 clones. And then Emma Frost gets the Phoenix Force again. If
it turns out this is a plot thing, the idea is the Phoenix actually is a dumbass. At some level I will respect it. Like, I think it's just a weird little bit of writing, but it'd be very funny if everyone was just like, Scott was like, oh, the Phoenix wants to save the mutant force. And the Phoenix just is up for whatever,
sure.
Like you think he's got a purpose, but he uses one of those lunch decider apps.
Oh man, it says baloney again. Oh
yeah. Just, the Phoenix must obey.
The art here is super cool. Like the Phoenix taking over Emma, and then the next page with it kind of pulling it out of the Madelines, even though again, like kind of a weird face, but still I think works within the context of the page. And then this huge Phoenix kind of chasing after Danger is really, really cool.
While this is happening, Sinister is desperately trying to like adjust his plans.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. He, redistribute, distribute the model, change, and eventually he's just like, God in heaven, everyone go. Someone has to escape. Like one of me has to get out.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing.
Up.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. As long as there's one Sinister left, he can still spawn in. Like his consciousness will be transferred to that Sinister, which is all explained earlier in this run. So you will definitely have a good time with some of that stuff.
Yeah. I'm excited. The Phoenix Five show up and no specific one is talking. It's the Phoenix talking, and says like, you didn't try to understand me. You only tried to master me. That's not going to work. And then the Phoenix talks through all three of them in a row. Like it's not the characters really talking. It's the Phoenix.
Yes.
You built your machines, you learned and observed, and you thought that'd be sufficient. But the Phoenix is the new. It is novel in the raw state. It's unprecedented. You can't chain it with science.
And
and he goes impossible. And I love this line. Like it's the opposite. The Phoenix creates possibilities.
Fucking great.
Like, yeah, super good.
And the five X-Men kind of like join together and become one giant Phoenix Firebird. And the Phoenix says, the Phoenix brings the new and burns the old away. Goodbye, Nathaniel, and just fucking smokes him. And presumably, like from this frame at the bottom of the next page, is smokes the entire underground city, London Sinister, right? Like just completely gone. Everything is ash.
They head up, and Storm is like, oh, Sinister dead, and Cyclops is like, he sent these tunneling machines and rocket ships and spores. They're burning now. Like this war is over. He's dead and gone.
I love the idea of sinister
cool ending for this.
species. The sinister species is done. Like that's really, really evocative. That's so cool.
Yeah. What a great little arc.
Mm-hmm.
Best tie-in in the series so far, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is just great. And the idea that because it also shows that they're vulnerable. Not only can the Phoenix Force be taken away from them, but also like they can be directly controlled by the Phoenix Force. And I think that both of those things are hugely important, are going to probably play into the main story somewhat.
And it answers that baby of the year question. Can they be tricked?
Can they be tricked?
They can be tricked. Can they be chucked?
Do you think I could, I don't know iTunes rules that well. Do you think I could name this episode, Does It Turn Out the Phoenix is a Dumbass, and get away with it? Like, surely, there's a podcast called Come Town, so I just assume you can put anything on iTunes nowadays. But
there's Come Town, there's Legion of Skanks, there's a lot of crypto right-wing.
I just don't want to get kicked off of, I don't want Apple to kick us out because we use the word ass.
Yeah. I don't know. Might be worth a Google.
Maybe.
No. Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you. We'll be back next time with Wolverine and the X-Men, a worse issue of this, like a pretty irritating issue actually. But we're rounding the home stretch. I was looking at the remaining things. We got a couple more months of this, and then we're done. Yeah. So we are going to be and we will be done before the X-Men animated series comes back. So we'll figure out something else to cover. We haven't really started talking about that yet. We don't have to start talking about it just yet, but just know if you're sick of AVX, we're rounding the home stretch.
Yeah. And if there's stuff that you want to see us do, you can always add us on Twitter at DOFC Podcast, and let us know what you would want us to cover. We're not promising anything, but we take all of those suggestions under advisement. Me and Gary talk about that stuff all the time. So we'll eventually decide for ourselves. But there's no harm in being like, hey, what's good is this thing, and especially if you've never heard us talk about it before and it's a new thing, that would be especially cool because we miss stuff.
We have a lot of stuff that is kind of in the tank. Like at some point we'll do Uncanny X-Force, I bet. Yeah. Because that's real good. I also want to take a little time and do some movies and stuff like that. There's been a bunch of Marvel stuff that's happened, but gotta watch Hawkeye, gotta talk about Shang-Chi.
Have you watched Hawkeye yet? Have you?
Not now. Today's the day though. Friday is tends to be my overflow day. Like I work, but then it's also when I clean up the house and I just do stuff I didn't get a chance to do during the week. And it tends to be where some TV watching happens. So I'm going to start that series.
If you manage to get to episode 3, text me when the thing happens because it's good.
I'm very excited about the thing. I've seen vague reference to it. Part of the way the world works for me in media is always like, I'm going to start watching it in part now because I don't want to have it spoiled. Yeah. And it will be. I don't necessarily so far media slower than anyone. So far, there's not been huge spoiler moments of oh my god, Green Goblin is here, that kind of stuff. But there's been there's just been some really good
stuff that happens on the screen. Like, it's just been fun. So
yeah, I'm so in the pocket for it. Like, I'm a mild Hawkeye liker just because of liking bow and arrows. I like the Young Avengers a lot. I like everything the MCU is doing for it, and I've liked the MCU TV shows. I like the TV shows better than I like the movies that I've seen since they came back.
I would agree.
Like,
with
if they pivoted to just 6 episode TV runs like this, I'd be fine.
I will say, if you like Kate Bishop, she is carrying the show on both of her shoulders. Like, she is
nice.
Fucking great in it. So you won't be disappointed there.
Yeah, Kate Bishop is wonderful.
You will also not be disappointed if you come back and listen to us talk about Wolverine and the X-Men in a couple of days. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, good segue. Yeah, unless you love that individual issue.
Yeah.
And you might be disappointed.
In which case you will be severely disappointed. Can't wait to talk about the slave wombs.
You'll pray to the disappointment priest of the Pain Church and then do the sad religion of the Dark Sun. Because that's every single sentence in that fucking book.
Did Jason Aaron write Lords of the Fallen, or did Lords of the Fallen write Jason Aaron? Which one came first?
He ends up sounding like Don King. Like this, this Magnesius perfection of Helmonius. It's just silly as hell. Anywho.
Talk to you soon, everybody.
Take care.